Welcome to MacroCode. If you're new to this channel, consider subscribing. So today we are going to proceed with our help desk management system. So we are going to sign into our help desk management system. Then we are going to proceed with our series. So as you can see, we have our tickets, the tickets that you've been creating, and you can see from this section, you can actually access the various comments that has been assigned to the tickets. But also on the navigation sidebar, we have the tickets module where you can actually see we can add a new ticket. Then you can provide the description of the ticket. That is the title, the description. We have the priority, it's urgent, the subcategories, whether it's hardware, the category and the subcategory. Then you can also attach a photo. So if you attach that and click create, then you can see our ticket is actually created and you can view the details of that particular ticket. So you can see here, you're able to see all this information. So we'll be styling this particular part, so don't worry about it. Then you have the ticket comments. So here you can actually provide comments to a particular ticket. That is when maybe you are addressing the comments or the tickets, you can always assign it a particular comment. Then if you create it, then that particular ticket will be assigned with the comments. Then you have the subcategories of the tickets. So you can have the hardware, software, marketing. So if I just click new, I can add the category of the ticket. And you can see I have various categories. Then I have the subcategories. So here I'll be able to see the subcategories. Then you have the audit trails. So our application tracks every activity that you are doing. So you can see we have the action, whether it's a create, update, delete. Then the module, the affected table, the timestamp, the IP address, and the user. Then you have the system users. So here you can create a new user. So here I can say provide the first name, middle name, last name, gender, email address, phone number, city, country, username, and password. Then we have the system codes. So for every options within the system, you are providing them as a grouping. So we have the priority. Then within the priority, we can have the high, medium, low. So that's how we are grouping them. For example, gender, we have male and females. Then under system code details, that is now where we are having the particular options. For example, you can see here, we have the male, female, and they belong to this particular group. So on this video, I want us to do something. Because we are going to have our application be role-based. So we need to actually create roles and we'll then assign roles to users. So what I want us to do in this series, I want us to create roles. So I'm going to create a controller. So let me just zoom in so that you're able to see. So that is it. So I want us to create a controller. So I'll just go here, then right click new. So let's just stop our application. Then I'm going to say new, add, then a controller. Then I'm going to call these roles. So I'll just say, so I can actually have, can create an empty controller. Then we're going to call these roles. So you'll call these roles controller. So I'll just do here roles. Then I'll just remove the one. Then we'll have our empty controller. So this controller, I want us to borrow some things from the user's controller. So let's just go here and I'm going to copy all this. You see this? I'm going to copy all this, then have it on our tickets. That is our roles controller. And of course, we'll need our constructor. So I'm going to copy that and have them here. So we have the user manager, which deals with everything related to users. Then you have the role manager dealing with everything related to roles, sign in, and we now have our application DB context. So we need to close our constructor. Then we have this particular index. So since we have the index, I want us to do something. Our index should always give us the list of roles. So I'll just do roles, then equals to. Here we can actually say, let me zoom in. So here you can actually say async, then you can say task, action result. So we'll just do action result. Then here we can have that. Then here we will say await. Then you can say roles, which this should be actually underscore context. Then you can have here as dot roles. So you see these roles will actually give us all the list of roles. So, and this is actually getting from our ASP.NET roles table. So once we have that, then we can actually return our roles to the view. That means we need to create our razor views. So how do we do that? So let's just go to our application under views. Then I want us to create a folder. So folder called roles. So that is roles. Then here we can create a razor view, an empty one called index. So that is it. So on this index, I want us now to display the list of roles. So we should be able to display the list of roles. So let's borrow what we have on our users, I mean. So I'm going to copy all this data table, then paste them on our roles index. But now on our roles, I want us to have here enumerable, then we can say something. We can do here identity role. So I'll just do identity role. So if I do this, I'll need to import something. So on our here, I'll need to do at using. So I'll say at using, then I'll say Microsoft. So I'll do Microsoft. So I'll just do Microsoft.ASP.NET So if I do that, then here should be identity roles. So this one should be identity. So that's a wrong spelling. So if we do that, then we should be able to have identity role. So then here we'll have our system roles. Then you can say create add new role. So we can add new role. Then on these roles, we can now display the roll number. So we can say here we can actually call this roll number. Let's just call it roll number. Then you can have this as roll name. Then you can have the various actions. So let's just remove all this. So you can have the edit, view, and the rest. So you can just have the edit, view, and the rest. So let's just do here edit, delete. Then you can say here. So let me remove this. So this will be view. So you can view, you can edit, and you can delete. Then within our roles, we can actually display the ID, and we can also display the name of the role. So then I'm also going to remove all this. Then I'll also remove this. Then here we can be able to view the roles. So we'll be having the edit. So this will be view, and we can always call these details. So these will be details. So these will be our roles table. But now to access these roles, we need to go to our shared layout, and we need to assign it to the navigation menu. So here we can copy this, and we can always say system roles. So you can say system roles. Then here, this controller should take us to the roles and the action called index. So that is our controller roles, and this will be our system roles. So if we try to launch our application, then we should be able to access these roles and see if we can be able to create a new role within our system. So for those who are following this series and you like what is coming up, remember to subscribe, like our video, comment down below, and in case you need the source code, you can consider subscribing and also claiming the source code using the link below. So that will be appreciated, and we will really appreciate in doing this particular series. So our application is launching. So I'm going to sign in to our help desk management system. Then I'm also going to see. So as you can see here, we now have our system roles down here. So if I click system roles, it now takes us to our roles index. But now we don't have our create action. So we need to have our create action. And one way to do that, we need to go to our controller. So just go to our roles controller. So within our roles controller, we can actually have another action called create. So I'm going to have just done that. Then here I'll say this is called create. So this action will return. So we can say return view. So we can do return view, and that will give us the page. So we can also now go forward and create this particular action. So I'm going to copy. Let me just do that. So I'm going to create another razor view. Then I'm going to call this. Create. So if I do that, then I'll have that particular page. So I'm going to copy some details from our system code details, our system code, then I'm going to paste it here. But now we are going to change our model. So our model, remember, we are using our identity. That is our identity. But now I want us to go forward and create another view model, which we are going to call it roles view model. So I'm going to call it roles view model. So on that roles view model, I want us to actually provide the details of the roles. So we can provide the ID, the name of the role, and the rest. So here we'll just do, this will be public. So let me zoom in. So I'll just do public int ID. So you can actually do here string. Then you say ID, then get set. Then I'll also have a string name, which will be role name. So this will be role name. And you can have the display names here. So I'll say display. So display name. Then you can provide here, you can say this is a role number. Then you can always do this, and you can say this is something else. So we'll say this is a role name. So if I just do role name, so this will be role name, and you can always do that. So this roles view model, if we go to create, we can always replace now our view models with our role. Then you can say here, this is a, so you can say add new system role. So then on our create, we have, so this will be, we don't need the ID. So what we only need to provide here is the name of the role. So we'll say role name. So it's a very simple CRUD. So we are going to do role name. Then that is the only thing that we need to provide. Then the rest is to save. So if we just provided that, let me just zoom in a bit so that you see. So that is how our form looks like. So, but the next thing that we need to do is we need to save these particular roles. So if you see, this action is taking us to create. So we need to have a post create action. So if you go to our roles, so this was a get. So you can actually do this. We say get. So this was a get method. So we need to have a post method. So I'll just copy that and have it down here. Then I can say HTTP post method. So our create actually will be supplied by the roles view model. So roles view model, and you can say this is VM. So inside this one, I want us to initiate one thing. So I'll say identity. So I'll say identity role dot role, and I can say is equals to new. So if I just do that, so that is it. So I've done that. Then I'll just come here and say role dot name is equals to VM dot role name. So that will assign the role, our role name. Then the next thing is I'll just save this particular role. So I'll just do variable. I'll say variable result is equals to await. Then I'll say role manager. So we are not using a context here. So you are using role underscore role manager. Then I'll just do create role. Then I can say if succeeded. So I'll say if result dot is succeeded, then I'll be able to know that my role has been created, and I can either provide something else. So here I can actually redirect. So I can say return, then redirect to action index. Then else I can always return back my VM. So I can always return my view with the model. So that is with the VM. So this will now create our role. So if we just launch our app, we should now be able to create our role without any particular challenge. So let's just launch our application. Now, whenever we create this, we should now be able to create assign roles to users, and then we'll be able to manage rights on who does what and what needs to happen at what particular point in time. So let's just sign into our application. Then let's sign into our app. That is our app. So we are now on the dashboard. Then under roles, you can see if I click add new, I'm now being given an option to provide. So I'll just say system administrator. So if I just do that and create, you can see our role has been created. So this is our role number and we have the role name. So if I do another one and say ICT technician, so I'll see technician. Then if I just do create, then I'm able to have that. I can say ICT manager. So if I save, I'm able to get that. I'm also able to say network administrator. So if I create, then I'm able to see my roles. So I can have as many roles as you can. So HR manager. So I'm able to create that. I'm able to have, you can say ICT officer. Then I'll be able to provide the details. Then I can also have a software developer. So if we do that, then you can see I have now my roles. So we can change the UI for the view button. So let's just go back to our index page, and I'm going to change this to, let's say, warning. So if I update, then our page will now change this particular UI to something else. So let's just see if that BTN warning. So let's just, yes, as you can see, the style has changed. So we now have our roles. So one interesting thing is we've just created our roles. And now the next thing that I want us to do is I want us to add countries as one of the items that we need to have within our application. So I want us to have the countries within our app and even departments. So the first thing that I want us to do, let's create a model for countries. Or we can just start with departments for this series. Then we'll be doing another thing on our next video. So the reason as to why we are creating departments, we need to tie users to departments and even get to know their geographical locations. So here, I'm going to create another model called department. So let me just do that. So I'll do department. Then after doing department, then I can now have my properties here. Public int that, then I can say I want, so this will be string, so this will be string. Then you can have here the code. Then I can have, that is the department code, and I can say maybe department name. So I'll just do name. And here we can always do display. So for those who are following this video and you like the video, comment down below, subscribe, and even give us some insights. So in case you want to claim the source code, that goes a long way in actually helping our work. So you can always claim the source code and you can share with others. That is the link. So let's just save here. So this is, so you can say department name. So this will be department name. Then you have department code. That is it. So after that, remember, whenever we add a model, we need to go to our application DB context. Then we need to add our table. So I'm going to add it here. Then I'll just copy this. So instead of writing all those codes, then I'll just provide here departments, and my model will be departments. So this will be my table. So then remember, whenever we do that, we need to proceed with NuGet package manager console. And from here, I can now add migrations. So if we add migrations, then we should be able to proceed. So I'll just do add migration, then I'll call these departments, then press enter. Then our migration should be added and we should be good to now update our database. So we notice 90% of you guys are watching our videos and you have not subscribed. So if you're one of them, please consider subscribing, like our videos, and comment down below. So our migration file has been generated. You see departments, we have the ID, the code, and the name, and we have we have a constraint. So the next thing is to update the database. So I'll just do update. But now let me change something. Instead of doing that, let me remove migration. So we missed something. So I'm going to remove migration, which will actually remove the immediate migration that you have just done. So on our department model, as we indicated, we should always indicate the person who created it. So let's just go to our departments model and remember what we need to do. So I'm going to ensure that we have actually inherited the user activity model. So here we are going to now do clear, then I can add the migrations for our model. So we'll now have the activities. We should be able to track who created that department, at what time, and when was it modified. So after that, you can see now our departments has been created and the number of columns has increased. We have the created by, created on, modified by, and modified on. So then I'll just proceed and update our database. So I'll just do update database. So I'll just do update database. So that will now create our table called departments with all the properties. So there we go. As you can see, everything is okay. So then the next thing is to scaffold. So we can actually scaffold this to ensure that we are getting the code, all the CRUD operation for our project. So I'll just do a new scaffolded, that is add new scaffolded item. Then I'll just MVC controller with views. Then I'll pick my model, which is now the department. So I'll just pick the department as one of the model that I need. So here I'll choose, where is it? So let me just check. So we are looking, so this is it. So then our departments will be the controller. So if I click that, then our project will scaffold and it will give us all the code that we need. So if you're following this channel up to this point and you have not subscribed until this episode, so consider subscribing. In case you need the source code, you can claim the source code, which actually goes a long way in ensuring that we give you guys the best content. And in case you have any suggestion on how we do things, we are always here to learn together. So please comment down below and we'll be ready to actually improve and even get more insights. So let's go to our shared layout. So here I'm going to add now the section for department. So I'll just go to the navigation menu and I'm going to have here department. So I'll call these departments. So these departments, I'll just do that. Then I'll say this is departments, which is also our controller. So if we launch our app now, we should now be able to access the departments sub-module. So this particular sub-module, we can now be able to create all the departments within our institution and ensure that we are tracking all the departments, and we can as well tie users to departments. So I'm going to sign in. Then on signing in, I should be able to access this particular section. So you can see our application is growing bigger every day. So here we have now the departments. So if I click on department, you can see we have the department code, department name, created by and modified by. So let's style. So let's borrow some styles from what we did. So the best thing is now we are borrowing the styles from what we did on our previous video. So I'm going to copy that, go to our departments folder, then under index. So I'll just paste this here. Then I'll say this is, so I'll just remove, so let me just remove this. So I'll say add new department. Then this is our table header. Then if we do that, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. Then if I do that, then we can always close that and we have everything there. So I'm also going to remove the modified by and modified on. So these two, so that we have that. Then on our table, you can actually have the buttons. So let's also borrow these particular buttons for delete and edit. Then we can add them on our department. The next thing also is on our headers. So you can also borrow the headers. So these three headers, and you can paste them on our department's headers. So these ones. So after that, on our create, we are also going to do something. So we are not going to ensure that allow users to select the created on and created by. So we are going to do away with that. Also the modified by and modified on, we are going to do away with that. So we need also to provide the styles that we've been using. So I'm going to copy this, then paste it on our, replace it on our create action. So I'll just also do the same thing here. So I'll just say add new department. Then I'm going to close this. So if I just format, so you can see this is already formatted. Then let's just check how so whether we need so yeah, so we need these styles within, so we are grouping this into, well, let me just check. Yes, we need the row. So let's just copy that. Then inside here, I'm going to do this. So then I'm going to close this, going to close that, copy this. So I want to have 2 columns. Then I'm going to close that. Then I can close it here. So if I just format, then our application now looks a bit better. So let's just relaunch our app and see. So we should now be able to create a department. And that department, we need to ensure that we are providing also the created by and created on. So let's just see how our form looks like. So I'm going to sign in there. Then when I go to departments and add new, you'll see I have the department code and now the department name. So what I want us to do is, on our departments create action, we need to ensure that we are going to remove this because we are not giving options to users to choose the created on or modified on. So I'll do away with them. So also created on, modified on, I'll do away with this binding. So I'll also remove this. So you can actually retain it. Then we have, so on our tickets, remember how we were getting the user who is logged in? So that is what we need. So before you create anything, we need the logged in user. So this is how we were doing it. So we are going to replicate this. So going forward now, it will be easier because most of the activities will be duplicating. So I'm going to get this and update it here. So you can see the created on, created by has been updated with the user who is logged in. And the same case can be done when updating. So if you go to edit, so you can do away with these ones because we are not updating. Then we are not, I can do away with those bindings. Then inside here, you can always also update that. So, but here we'll now be doing modified on and modified by. So that is it. So let's now log in and create a department. Then you should be able to see how it appears. So for those who are following this video until this particular point, remember to subscribe, share our video with others, and also comment down below in case you need us to include something on this video. So I'm going to sign in. Then after signing in, I'm also going to now create a department. So under departments area, add new. Then on this department, I can call it ICT. Then I'll say ICT department. I'll call it ICT department. So if I click create, you see it's not doing anything. So there's one thing that you are missing. So I'll need to, so just come to our create action. So I'll need to copy this and have it at the top here. So if I do that, so we need to ensure that so let's just see our user activity. the only nullable values are created on and modified on and modified by. But created on and created by is actually compulsory. So you can always do that, and also you can as well even remove this. So if you get your values not saving, you can do away with that. So I'll be showing you the best way to do this. So let's just right click. So let me just see. So let's just go there and see. So let's sign into our app. Then I'm going to, so let's go to the departments, add new. We said we are creating ICT, then we have ICT as department. Then if I just click create, there we go. You can see it has now given us the ICT. We have ICT department created by and created on. But for the created by, we are only having the ID of the user, but we don't want that. We actually want the user who is actually logged in. That is the full name. And you can see we have the .include here, and we have our .include for the created by and for the modified by. That means under our index, we should just change, instead of doing created by .id, then we can do created by .full name. So this one will actually give us the name of the person who is logged in. So if you update our application, instead of this weird string, we'll actually get the name of the person who is logged in. You can see Jacob Mwangi Karanja is now the person who is logged in. We can add another department. We say FIN. So that is the code. Then you can say finance department. Then if I create, I'll have my department. I can also say HR. Then I can say human resource department. Then if I create, then I'm able to see that. I can also say proc. I can say this is procurement department. So if I save, then I'm able to see all those particular departments. So that is it for today's. For those who are watching our video, as you can see, today we have been able to add departments, and we have also added the roles to our application. So if you're following this series and it's getting interesting, subscribe, like our video, and you can as well claim the source code, which will actually go a long way in ensuring that we provide you with the best content. And also you can buy us coffee. Hot one will be really appreciated. So see you in our next video. Bye.